Time is an essential component in our lives. This applies to all walks of life, from sim racing to finance. We've all been there, where it seems like the time we spend practicing on track is not being utilized to its full potential. Having a good understanding on how you can maximize your time value is a key component to success, not only in the sim, but in our lives. I will be going over the time value of money concept and how it relates to sim racing, as it will help guide the way we practice and put our time to work for us. In finance, the time value of money is used to measure the rate at which money is compounding over a period of time. Think of money in the case of sim racing as your own time on track, and the more time you spend on track, the more you will gain an understanding of that track, which will lead to better lap times. Once we are settled in a track, there are several other methods we can implement which lead to better lap times, like having a more aggressive setup or learning the intricacies of the track and where most overtake opportunities occur.
Dude, I feel like I was gonna spun out.
These setups in terms of finance are our rates that are used to compound money over time. These rates are mostly determined by the sources of risks involved, like the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. Here's a good example of the compounding nature of money. If we invested $100 in the S&P 500 in the year 2000 to 2022, 22 years, and with the S&P average rate of return within that period being 6.9%, we would end up with $434 in the year 2022. What if we let it sit for another 20 years? It seems like it would only double. But no, we would end up with a return of $1,635. Applying this same concept to sim racing, we see that, for the most part, the more we practice, the better our laps will be on a given track. This is not always the case because of the nature of the setups and the driving habits we develop. I know I have been guilty of sticking to the setups because I like the way it handles and taking the turns in the same manner I always have, even though it may not be the most efficient way. These formed habits are difficult to break because we are comfortable and feel safe with them. What are some other driving habits you have that you think will help out others in sim racing? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you give it a thumbs up to help out the channel. This is where practicing in a different way that makes us uncomfortable is really key. And taking the first steps is always the hardest because we are afraid that we might fail or lose time in our driving. In order to try this method of practice, it is very essential we keep this in the back of our mind. If we don't do better than others, it's okay. If we end up crashing on track, it's okay. Because no matter what, there will always be another chance for us to improve and learn from our failures, which is by far one of our greatest strengths as sim racers. Feeling comfortable with that latter statement, we can start practicing more efficiently. Instead of going into practice mode and testing out the setups you have, go into multiplayer races and try your setups there. And look at the replays from other drivers so you can see where the overtaking opportunities occur. You can do this one step at a time by either keeping your preferred setup or trying out a new way of taking the turns. Or you can start with your new setup and take the track in the same way you always have.
Oh, motherfucker.
If we apply this to finance, it goes like this. Let's stake our money in the S&P 500 for 10 years at a rate of 6.88%. Compare this to our original way of practicing. And down the road, we decide to change our investing habits. So we invest in the NASDAQ at a higher rate of 7.8% for the remaining 32 years. Compare this to our new method of practicing. We would end up with $1,736. That's a 6.16% difference from the original rate of return of 6.88%. We can draw parallels to the way we practice in the sim now. Making these small changes will have higher benefits to us, compounding our driver experience at a better rate than if we were to just stick to practice mode. Furthermore, depending on which type of account it is, the rate can be compounded in numerous ways, from yearly to monthly to daily. This is mostly done with loans, where the rates are compounded on a monthly basis. For example, whenever we go to the bank and ask for a loan,
I'm in need of $720,000 at the moment.
We are giving an APR rate, let's say 4%. This is not the true percentage rate because of the compounding nature. To figure out the actual rate, we will need to use the following formula. where K is equal to the number of periods we are compounding. So in our case, there are 12 months in a year, so our K will be equal to 12. We then find the effective interest rate to be 4.07%. Now this doesn't seem like a huge change, but like we've seen in the past, over time, this will add up. The same story applies to how we learn about tuning our vehicle. If you have never tried setting up your vehicle and want to get a good understanding of what these adjustments are doing, a simple way to do this is by maximizing or minimizing one option at a time. In my case here, I will be decreasing the anti-roll bar all the way down, but I will only do this for the front. I will drive the car around the track and see what impact this has had to my vehicle. And we can do this for every other setting within our vehicle. So we go into single player, we go into the practice mode, choose the track that you are most familiar with, and set your time to 12, and the time multiplier to 1. Then go to the weather settings, and set the weather to clear and disable dynamic weather and start your session. This may seem contrary to what I said before, but hear me out. When you do this, you always want to minimize the impact of variables, and in this way, we can compound our way of learning. This can be further developed in our own personal habits by choosing the way we decide to react to our own track and car failures. We can mold ourselves to have those reactions when something doesn't go our way in life. I'd suggest you watch my Before You Finance video on the handbrake to see some of the failures I've had, and you'll see my reactions there. Learning is a lifelong journey. If you can apply these habits by making small adjustments each day, we can become better drivers, investors, deliverymen, construction workers, or whatever your profession may be. If you are ready to begin a new journey, there is no better time now. I have partnered with Humble Bundle to bring you a great offer. For only a limited time now, you can get started making your own YouTube videos with some great EDM tracks. You can pay as little as $1 to get started. The best part about this sponsorship is that the purchase will help out everyone, as for every $1 the charity receives, they will plant one tree, and now that's something everyone can get behind. Use my affiliate code in the description below to get started on making great content or to support a great cause. I actually ended up buying the package. It was such a great deal I didn't want to miss out on. Applying these practice tips is all up to you now. Ask yourself this: is making those practice adjustments worth it to me? Would you rather have the 1,635 or the 1,736? If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for the next upload as we break down one of the most exciting races you'll see between a 700,000 pound McLaren and a 500,000 pound Jaguar. Which team will be the winner of the $1 million prize, and will it be enough to earn a return on their investment? Find out next time as we break down the meaning of ROI and how you can apply it in your own life. And as always, SimFin here, peacing out.
I'm in need of $720,000 at the moment. I really need it. It's for my race team. I am absolutely ready for this risk. I have complete faith in my team.